And you can hear the hoarseness of my voice. I'm like still getting well. But I am here to finally do my Tidal Multiplicity stream. I'm really excited about this topic. I wanted to chat about it a little while ago. So I'm hoping that I was a little bit late because I got my hair done. But I'm hoping that you guys get a lot out of it. It's kind of an interesting concept that I had not even given any thought to until I think it was probably about a month ago when I was really considering, because I've always kind of joked around like, oh yeah, I got multiple personalities. And it really is just emotional states. Like as a woman, I'm constantly in this change state. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And maybe if people are on here and they want to chat about whatever else, we can do that as well. But for introductions, my name is Amelie, and I am the host and creator of Celestic Intelligence podcast, which is what you're watching right now. And this is, I believe, what is it, episode? Let's see if I can find it. I think it's like 53 or something. And I really apologize. My voice sounds pretty terrible, and that's why I've kind of been putting off the streams because it just sounds awful. 54. So cool. So it's a very, I'm a very mermaidy kind of a person. When I talk about being mermaidy, it's kind of like, oh, you're interested in that. Maybe you're leaving trinkets around. You're kind of undecided. You can swim wherever you want to go. And so it just has this really nice fluid energy, being a mermaid. And I love water. Like, out of all of the, like, I've really looked at all of the things that I'm super interested in, and it all involves water. Even when I was a little girl, I would love to swim. We would go to the creek, we would go to a river, lake, whatever, the ocean, and I would just be the first one in, last one out because I love water. I love being in water. I love being submerged in water. And even now, as an adult, like that's all I think about. I think it maybe got to 68, 70 degrees on Saturday. And I went and jumped and did a cold plunge in the river because it was like sunny out. And I was like, that's all I can think of is just going and doing this cold plunge, even though I've kind of been sick. And I was like, it'll make me feel better. I don't know if it did or not, but, and then the other thing is like, I just want to go to the hot springs. I want to go look at hot springs. I want to go soak in the hot springs. I just want to be around hot springs. And I've been kind of doing that for a while, especially last year around this time. I went and did a little trip. Hi, Jerusha. You really are kind of mermaidy. I'm so mermaidy. Like, you have no idea how many earrings I've lost. I've lost so many earrings. Just going and staying in hotels, staying at people's houses. Like, I lose like all, I'm always losing my little trinkets everywhere. And if you think about like Ariel, she had her little cavern of treasures and it was just like discarded treasures or whatever. But Jerusha, good to see you. Thanks for chatting and thanks for stopping by. So we have entered into this horse year, and it's a fire horse year. It's a year one. So there's a really strong self energy of being reborn or born. The horse year actually is a little bit more Sagittarian in influence, whereas the one really is kind of like this Aries, like new birth year. So we're really in this new cycle. So last year, if you were experiencing really difficult and challenging things and you just kind of wanted to isolate away from everybody to like kind of huddle and lick your wounds, which is how I felt most of the years. Like, I just want to huddle, even though I was out, doing my regular podcasts and, being online and trying to like have a presence online as much as possible. Deep down, I was like, I did not want to do any of that. I just wanted to kind of like huddle and figure out like, okay, what's the grief that I'm moving through. I was moving through some really big codependency, um, not just for myself, but for a generational situation because my uncle died last year. And so like moving through those big energies, I was just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to like lay down and like ground this out. Like let's metabolize this. So that was a snake year, which is very scorpionic. So now as we move into this horse year, it's a Sagittarian, freedom, movement. If you think about a horse, like getting a fresh horse, that horse is just going to ride and ride and ride. So, as we're thinking about that, the tidal multiplicity that comes into that is, you know, understanding all of your emotions and how you're going to move through them. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Megan. Aw, you're beautiful. Thank you. Um, when you when we think about the emotions, we're really just kind of like learning how to surf, right? So kind of going back into this ocean analogy that I'm kind of putting to the multiplicity, that learning to surf your own inner ocean and like kind of going and being free. So some of the big themes that I've been experiencing in the last, I would say in the last 6 weeks, really heavily, is tuning into what is my inner child. So, really thinking about as a child, what did I like to do? I loved wearing dresses. I loved swimming. I loved coloring. I loved creating. I loved being outside and like picking flowers. So, I have a bouquet of flowers that I keep and I just kind of tend to and add things to it. It has a lot of greens in it, but I love like, I really love one of my favorite flowers is a stargazer lily, and they just smell beautiful and they're gorgeous. And having a lot of greens and whites in my bouquet with that beautiful pop of pink is amazing. Hi, Brendan. I'm Brendan. Nice to meet you too, everyone. Nice to meet you, Brendan. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe, buddy. Let's go. um, and then I loved reading. I loved writing. I was constantly reading children's fiction books. So just little adventures that I can go in. Like every book is a little metaverse. Just little adventures that I can go in and experience that. So that even, nowadays you can listen to an audio book or even watch a movie and kind of get the feel of whatever that storyline is. But hearing stories is like one of my favorite things. Lighting fires, just being around a fire and having your family there, maybe not even interacting, but just having them in that room. And I don't even remember eating. Like, that's how crazy it was. But I was always climbing trees. I was always outside. And so, as I'm looking at my own, what is my inner child? I'm like looking at what my actual childhood was and figuring out, okay, those are the things that I really love doing. Now, as an adult with my free will, I'm going to exercise it and really learning to love and explore that. I loved singing. I loved writing songs. Like I was just a little creative. I was I was pumping out like all kinds of whatever. I'd go up to the top of a tree and I'd just be singing to, the wind or whatever. So just thinking about like that, how does that align with you? So maybe the things that I love to do, you didn't like to do. So you might have different things, but just kind of exploring how you feel with your adult free will about going and doing those things again and really experiencing it. It's interesting because like I don't even think about it. I'm just doing it. And then when I'm doing it, like I just kind of get this like inner child monologue going of like, oh yeah, you loved to do this when you were a kid. All right. All right. So just at the base, humans are not like the stable creatures that we front, okay? We're fronting that we're stable. Like humans are constantly evolving within themselves, They're constantly on the move. They're constantly growing. We really have this tidal effect. We're kind of tidal creatures, you know? So if you think about um, even going through something, like you can be just like cruising along in your life and everything is kind of chill. And then all of a sudden, like the tide gets high and then you're like, oh my gosh, everything is like falling apart. And she's whimsical. Yeah, I'm pretty whimsical too. Uh, I don't even know how to describe myself. It's been an interesting experience in the last couple of weeks, especially. Um, Anyhow, so we're like these tidal creatures. So when that tide gets super high and things start like popping off, um, that stability, it's hard when you're like up in the high wave to have that really strong stability. But this is like the cycle of life, right? Everything gets kind of crazy, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And then it kind of like mellows out, and then you get to chill, okay? And you've got to ride those times and just recognize in your body that this is the time that I got to address the thing. This is the time that I need to step back and not do anything. Okay. Okay. So some days our life feels enormous and almost expansive, that, you know, everything is like so big. One of my sons is kind of going through this. He's going through a really big emotional thing. Like his physiologically, he's having physical changes. I saw it in his face. Like his I was like, your Mew game right now is like on fleek, because like I could see the change in his jaw, I can see the change in his torso, and he was experiencing it, and he's like, man, I've got this energy going on right here. And it was almost like he was breathing for the first time, because he was shedding all of this old self of, or this old energy of people kind of lobbing that onto him, and he kind of was holding onto it. So now he's like releasing that, and you can see the physiological change, because physiognomy is real. So that's when like your face is like almost this projector of what you are on the inside, okay? Your face will start to shift. And I think there's a saying, it's like you get the face that you deserve by the time you're 40. And there's other things that go into that too. But your face will start to change. So if you start to like deceive people, like there's certain facial parts of your face that are going to change. I was looking at old pictures, and maybe I'll do a live stream and show you guys the pictures, because it's pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it isn't. um, but it was interesting for me to look at me at 18 and then look at me now and like do this side by side comparison. So there are some changes, but overall, like I don't look very much different than I did when I was in my, my early adulthood. Not like the changes that happen like in the teens or whatever. Physio- physiognomy. Physiognomy. Yeah, it's a fun one to say. um, so yeah, like our life will feel enormous. Like back then, I'm looking at these pictures and I'm looking at this young lady that is me, right? And I'm looking at this young lady and I'm like, man, she was so scared. She was like in survival. She didn't know what was going on. She had to brace herself to like get through life, because nobody in her life was really supporting her. And so I have to, take a step back and say, okay, nobody was supporting her then, but I'm supporting her now. And so, the knowing those feelings that were coming and bubbling up, and there's quite a bit. And now, like, me being able to metabolize it is a great feeling. So some days our days will feel enormous, and we'll have that, like, that destiny is expanding, like everything is possible, which is really how I'm feeling this year. Is like there's so many possibilities. My Like all the things that I had. So last year I named it the year of refinement, and this year is the year of connection. And it's not just connection with external communities. This is really a connection with my inner being and my outer being, really having this solid fuse and relationship together, and expanding from that, because what's in here is going to get projected on the outside world, okay? So if you're feeling negative on the inside, likely things negative on the outside are happening because you're you're seeding that belief, you're watering and nurturing that belief, and that belief is going to come true. You don't even have to say words. You can just have thoughts, okay? So watch your thoughts, watch your words. I've been saying this for a couple years now, ever since I started podcasting, because it's so true, okay? So really think about that. So other days, everything might contract, and you might even feel small. You're just like, no, I don't want to go out. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. And it's a very feminine nature to like really feel into, do I really want to go out and do the thing? Or am I just not interested? And being honest in it, saying, you know what? I don't want to go on a date with you. I'd prefer to just kind of hang out by myself. Or, oh yeah, going to the park and having a picnic and just laying in the sun for a couple hours sounds great. Let's go do it, you know? And I'm like a rally person. If I'm super sick, I'm like ready to rally. And so I have to even watch myself of like not always having to say yes to things when deep down I'm like, you know I really want to do it, but physically I don't have the energy to do it, because I love to rally, okay? I have the worst FOMO. I don't like to miss things, and I love getting invited, especially last minute, and I'm able to make it. I'm like, dude, totally going, like, yes. um All right. So some days our life feels enormous. Some days we feel that contract. All right. So we're having this expansion and then the contraction. So it really is like creating life, right? Because when you think about the baby, your pitocin is like fired up, and then all of a sudden, like you have the contraction and the body hurts, and you're like, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I can't even think, I can't even hear anybody. But then when it releases, you're just like, okay, I can relax. If you've ever had a baby, that's what it's like. So some people might think something's wrong with them when these things are happening, especially if it's rapid. Some of us have really rapid feelings. Like sometimes, like it's not abnormal for me to feel like 25 feelings in an hour and just really just kind of clock it, of like having all these feelings. That's fairly rapid. A lot of people are just kind of like, I'm chilling. Okay. Not people like me. I'm like feeling it, especially when I'm like having a lot of interactions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so disgusted. I don't want to talk to that person. A lot of the times this might happen at work where I'm just like, ugh, that's a task that I really don't want to do. So I feel really gross about it. But then like I feel a lot of accomplishment when I'm like getting a lot of things done, especially when people are coming in and giving me good feedback. Thanks for getting that taken care of, right? So I want to say, like, since we are not stable creatures, having this multiplicity about us is not abnormal. It's completely normal, and it happens to a lot of us, okay? It's this is not instability, all right? Mike, whoop whoop, Mike's here. Oh, I should give Jerusha a hammer. Can I? Okay, hold on. Oh, you are a mod. Okay, you already got one. Okay. Um, I used to joke and say, like, having all of these feelings, especially like having like 25 feelings in an hour, even more, was a sign that I had like multiple personalities. And I used to joke about that a couple years ago. But it really isn't multiple personalities so much as it's just this multiplicity that we all carry in our body. We're not always on chill mode. We're not always on anger mode. We have fluctuations in our emotions, and really being mindful about why you're feeling a certain way is going to help kind of level out that that unstable feeling that you might have. Crunchiest food. Wait, is that something that um, that YouTube is? What's the crunchiest food? You know what crunchy food I really like is jicama. I love it. Tim, you've got the music in me. I got the music in me. Let's go. I can't sing on here because I think if you sing on YouTube, even if it doesn't sound good, like they demonetize you or they like strike your account or whatever. I know. I was like, if I don't go on, Mike's gonna get pissed. I don't know your cunt, Barry. All right. So, I named this stream Tidal Multiplicity because I wanted to put a word of like a word identifying identifying that instability, but it being a norm. Because a lot of people will think, oh, I'm not consistent. Okay, well, are you or aren't you? So you got a time out, Barry. Barry's berries got a time out. So this year is really about the movement, right? So we're really embracing this tidal multiplicity that we have within ourselves. If you're watching this, you're watching because you're resonating with the message, okay? Because we're all looking for our like-minded people around us, people that are going to give us deeper answers, people that want to connect in a deeper way. And so this year is definitely about movement, okay? And what does movement require? You can't just be take the horse out and then, full on run that thing for 3,000 miles, right? A horse needs to have rest. It needs to be watered, right? So that even in itself, even though that horse is representing that movement, the movement is having a wave, right? We're doing a wave. Like it gets to run, full on for a while, and then maybe it has a little jog, and then once it gets a little bit of rest, it can go for a longer. So if you watch or like have ever heard of any old stories, you'll hear like fresh horses for my men. Why did they want that? They wanted the fresh horses because those fresh horses that haven't been exerting the energy, it's been preserving the energy, they're able to go faster, further, and get to the destination quicker, okay? So when we think about the horses, like the horses are very interesting. And I know that I was going to bring up some horse story myths, and maybe I'll do that this weekend, but the weekend I was going to do it, I got really sick, you guys. So movement requires this wave literacy, right? So when we talk about tidal multiplicity, the constant evolution of our feelings, we're really like coming down to how literate are we with our movement. And energy is, our emotions are energy in motion, okay? when you have an emotion, if it's a negative emotion, maybe it's like anger or surprise. I had somebody say that me playing my music loud during like daytime hours was jarring. And I kind of like took a step back of like, jarring. Like, this is my, this is like a place that I'm able to do this. I love to play. So part of my inner child is playing music really loud and singing along to the music. But I'm like choosing all of these songs from times in my life, and it's bringing me back. Like, I'm connecting with my inner child, whether it's the child, the teen, the young adult, whomever it was, like the lifetimes before where I'm at right now. Well, it's not my best day, but I'm alive, and that was really in question over the weekend. Like Amelie said, I rallied so hard, I rallied myself into the hospital. Oh my gosh, Def, take her advice. I am so glad that you're doing well. Yeah. Don't rally too hard. Like sometimes your body is telling you, hey, just pump the brakes a little bit, you know? So really looking at what that literacy is, okay? let's get a little bit more. I might have a long stream today. I don't know. Hopefully I have a voice. Hopefully I don't sound too terrible. So let's expand on humans are tidal creatures, okay? So I was talking about like the pains of birthing, the childbirth. So you have the expansion, that relaxation, and then you have the contraction. And this is all a part of giving life. And really what we're here for is creating life, right? We're here to create. So life naturally moves through these scales, okay? We can look at things under a microscope, or we can look at it at a big macro vision. Sorry you wound up in the hospital. Hope you're getting better. I definitely will. Wait, did you go to the hospital? What happened? Oh, take the advice. You sound great. Oh, yeah. Grateful that you're feeling good, Jerusha. Another scale is just having daily routines, okay? I love my routine. I have my alarm goes off. I love my work routine. My alarm goes off. I lay in bed for like 15 to 20 minutes while like snoozes or whatever. And I'm awake, but I'm just like laying there, just really enjoying and appreciating how warm and comfortable my bed is. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta get up. So I get up and I started this health app, I guess. I don't know. So I get up, I go weigh myself, I get my coffee, like get the hot water hot in the kettle, and then get like choose my dress. What am I gonna wear today? How am I feeling? And it's really funny because a lot of the times, whatever's in the laundry, like the dirty laundry, is what I want to wear. So I'm like, girl, you got like hundreds of other dresses. Just pick another one. So some days it's a little challenging, and this is why I wear dresses. Because if I had to choose two separates, it would be a nightmare, and my closet would be insanity. And then, I go and I brush my teeth and I get my makeup on and I do my hair. And then I get my coffee and I sit down and I just kind of drink my coffee and look at tarot cards, do tarot readings, or just sit there, or whatever it feels is the best for me before I've got to leave. And then I get to work and then I have my whole work routine. And I love having that daily routine. Okay. On the weekends, I'm like, okay, on the weekend, I'm getting as much sleep as possible, unless I'm like traveling. A lot of the times I'm planning the travel. So I'm like, okay, on this weekend, I don't want to go do anything crazy. On this weekend, I don't want to go do anything crazy. But on this weekend, I want to go on a road trip. or I want to go do this, or I want to go do that, or I'm going to be at home and I'm going to be doing this. Like I plan those things out, so I'm looking forward to that. So you can literally see like in my routines, there's still scaling. Like there's times where I'm just like, I don't really want to do anything. I feel like I just want to bundle up and contract. And then there's other days where I'm like, if I'm not on a train or in a rental car or on my bike or like traveling somewhere, I'm going to go crazy because like I have the energy right now for it. Relational dynamics also fit into this as well, okay? So, I'm kind of hard to live with. I'm a little bit much a lot of the time, and I'm surprised that my son like puts up with me as much as he does. He used to get really angry, and I would just laugh at him because like he would get angry at the way that I speak or question or investigate, or I'm like asking all these questions, and he's like, "Stop asking me the same question, the same question, but like five different ways. Quit doing that." And I can't. That's just part of my personality. And then he's like, gets frustrated at me talking. And I'm like, that's so silly because, like, there's tons of people that enjoy listening to me talk. So I know that, whatever it is definitely not that. So we have a really interesting, like, relationship. And some days he's really happy, and then some days he's just like super pissed. And, we have to like learn to balance out with each other. And we do. We have a really good relationship. It's just the natural dynamics of a relationship is you're going to have those days where one of the people are just completely pissed and just they're at their wits' end. And if you say anything or talk or even look at them funny, they're gonna like blow a fuse. Okay. And then there's other days where it's just like, hey, come and hang out with me. I can't, like, if you're not gonna be around me, I'm not happy about that. Okay. Um, Existential meaning also is this scale. Like some days, as children, we're like, what is the meaning of life? What is that meaning? And then, like, as an adult, I kind of sometimes think about how funny that question is. And I'm like, it really doesn't matter. Like there's this whole scale of it matters so much. And if I don't get the answer, I'm just gonna go crazy. And then there's other times where it's just like, meh, no big deal. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I definitely have just kind of considering like, who's running the place. And then like, does it really matter like who's running the place? Is it really a big argument to have? Or even like the strong religious opinions that people have? They can have their opinions, but like I would prefer just to have my own peaceful understanding of it. So there's lots of scales of ways we can look at that. Okay. Your psyche can hold these scales and many, many more. Okay. So think of a sliding scale. Like this is like doesn't really matter, and like this really matters a lot. We go back and forth on these sliding scales all the time. Okay. So your psyche is able to comprehend and handle all of these multiple scales. Sometimes the mind will panic when there's like huge shifts. Let's say like it wasn't even on your radar and you don't even care about it. And then all of a sudden it's just like the only thing you can think about. Your mind will start panicking and you'll start to get into that like survival mode. So really just kind of checking yourself of is being on this end of the scale and having this shift and having this effect, that is it that important? Some people it is. I don't quite understand it. I like to have like a little bit of um a relaxed look at things, just kind of being observational instead of like getting wrapped up into these crazy things, crazy ideas, or really extreme ideals. All right. So one day you're thinking about the dishes. Like I definitely thought about dishes. I got these really cute. Um, I when my roommate moved out last year, I had three plates, and I had some like mismatched bowls. I did not have a set of dishes, and I was often thinking of like, oh my gosh, it would be really cool to invite people over for a dinner, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Like I can't just put them on this plastic and these Corelle plates. Like, how embarrassing would that be? So I didn't have any dinner parties, which I love to have dinner parties. And so I was like, I really want a plate. And so I got on Amazon and I'm like, oh, it'd be really fabulous is having porcelain plates. I want to have like this really awesome porcelain set. And porcelain is so dreamy. I love it. So, I'm scanning Marketplace and I'm just like sitting back and taking my time. But I was one day, just that's all I was thinking about is dishes. And then I saw this set that I really wanted on Marketplace. And it started out like, pretty high number. I think it was like $50 for 45 pieces. And I'm like, man, I really wish that I could get that $45 set. And then over time, I was like, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. I get paid once a month, so it's kind of crazy. But I was like, okay, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. So finally I get paid and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was like looking and thinking about those dishes and I ended up getting them. They do have flowers on them. They're very beautiful. I highly recommend getting a porcelain set of dishes. It's like having, I don't know what bone china is, but they're so sturdy, even though they're like very dainty. Um, so yeah, I thought about dishes. Next day, you could be contemplating the fate of humanity. A lot of people are doing this right now, and I'm just like, not interested. Like I spent all of my all of 2010, I feel like I spent contemplating like outcomes of politics and all these thought leaders and like trying to figure out where they were standing and the Epstein files before it was even a big thing right now. Like I was thinking about all of these children that were getting, trafficked and getting, what are they called? Like the missing children. Anyways, they're getting abused. And I'm just thinking like, oh my gosh, my heart goes out to them. And there really isn't anything that I can do, but I was feeling really deeply about it. And now, like, a lot of people it's like they had to see the proof instead of like knowing that it was going on. They had to see the proof. And so now they're kind of in this despair rabbit hole of like, what's going to happen to these people and all this stuff. So, one day you're thinking about dishes, the next day you're contemplating humanity, and then 1 hour you might feel like, oh my gosh, like nobody ever wants to call me or talk to me, and I'm like all alone. And then the next minute you're just like, I can't keep up with all of my social engagements, okay? So these are really rapid shifts. Kindred. Aw. Make Kindred a mod. There. Kindred has come and been a very regular person on my thing, so congratulations, new mod. Enjoy the wrench. I don't know if it's wrenches still, but you guys got shields. So we can go through all of these shifts and scales, and nothing's really broken. It's just these are the tidal waves that we're feeling in our beings and that we're experiencing in real life, okay? So we're just moving tides, and tides, they go back and forth, back and forth. I went to the ocean. I went to Lincoln City and spent the weekend with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago. And, we were like, okay, let's like see when the tide is, and maybe we might go out and like get some clams or something. We didn't do that, but that's something that people do. They're watching that tide. So really, you can watch the actual tide and thank you. You're welcome. Hello, congratulations. Um, so you're just moving tides. So your psyche is this huge ocean, all right? It's not a swimming pool. It's a huge ocean. Like our mind is so expansive, even though like we only use a small amount of it. Our minds are expansive. Just think about all the metaverse out there, metaverses out there. Um, even last year, I discovered not only are we trying to navigate what's going on within ourselves and then what's going on in our physical world, now that we have all of this digital technology, we're trying to navigate that. And so instead of being a dual split, now we have this triple split of where our attention is going. And so it can even feel bigger, okay? And a lot of people, they might rely on AI and they're thinking AI is going to be the greatest thing ever. But they can get so deep into it that it just becomes a part of their personality. And that can be a very big wave too, because the programming changes in those AI programs. Okay. Um, so I don't know how many of us believe we have to have like stability and be a stable self and be the same. Like, I was talking about looking at all of these old pictures of me when I was in my, young adulthood and looking at that and then looking at me now and just kind of like doing this comparison. I was very much unstable. I was very crazy. Like it was a wild thing. And, now I'm very much more stable, but I still have all of these wild emotions that go on. I still experience like this big ocean and then the tiny little puddles. Like it's a normal thing, but now I'm able to navigate it a little bit more. Okay. There's this idea, and I think even when I was considering like what is multiple personalities and why is it a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing to have multiple personalities? This modern cultural ideal that we should have one consistent personality is unrealistic, especially since we're like adding in this digital metaverse. Okay. Yay, Tim's here. So there's this false lie that you have to have this one personality. And maybe you have like one outer personality that is pretty steady and it's been the same for X number of time. I can tell you that I can wake up one day and just be a completely different person. It's just the feelings and the energy that kind of move through me. I'm just like, okay, sometimes I'm just quiet. Some days I just don't want to chat. Some days I just want to be by myself. But when I'm in like a social group, especially like at meetings, like having a meeting with a bunch of people in the room, like I get really excited about that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go talk to the people and, say hi, give them hugs, check in, do all the things. And so my personality shifts a little bit. Whereas, one minute I'm sitting at my desk just grinding away and doing work. And then the next minute I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to people. um, Real humans contain multiple emotional states. They contain multiple motivations, multiple at the same time. Okay. You don't just have one motivation and go for it. You don't just have one personality and one feeling and then that's it. Okay? We have multiple emotional states. We have multiple motivations. We have multiple time horizons. A lot of people experience time differently. I could be experiencing a shift in time where everything seems to be going really fast, Whereas somebody in the same room, maybe my son, thinks it's going super slow. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so bored, right? So we can have these different time horizons, and we can have multiple identities going on at the same time in motion, okay? Like, we can have that. We can hold this. Our psyche is made for that. And we do, to a certain extent. Who I am on the podcast might be different than who I am in person, might be different than who I am when I'm chatting with people online. It might be different than who I am at work. Um, like, I hold multiple personalities, I hold multiple identities, but this is not necessarily a bad thing. And I've been saying that for a couple years. It's not a bad thing to have multiplicity, okay? Now, how, the idea that we have this one consistent personality, and if you don't, then you're fragmented. There is a point in your life where it can be a little bit dangerous, and that's if you're disassociated from yourself, okay? So disassociation happens when you're experiencing a trauma, and it's like you have to separate that. You kind of compartmentalize and cage a part of yourself that is you, but you have to like kind of keep it to the side. And a lot of people that experience trauma and have, maybe PTSD or even CPST, the CPTSD diagnoses might have this fragmentation. Better than Dave Ramsey deserves. So we can get into a place where dissociation can happen, and I think it does happen to a larger degree now that we have not just our internal state and our external state, which is like our mind, and then like the physical world, but now that we've added this digital landscape into our culture, into like our norm as a society, I think fragmentation happens on an even deeper level because we're having a hard time going from this dual split to now to a triple split, okay? So the danger of dissociation is that fragmentation, and then you're not even aware of that fragmentation. So if you don't have the awareness of this is what's happening, and you're able to speak into it and like monitor it and then kind of slowly reincorporate it into yourself, that's where I would say like multiple personalities might be dangerous and different than just being a normal multiplicitous human with the range of emotions and being aware of those things, okay? So there's quite a difference there. So if you're on multiple waves and you can't name it and you can't like hop from one wave to another, that's where, you might be a little bit more cautionary about what you're experiencing. Because it is normal. And I was like, I kind of feel like I have multiple personalities, but I don't feel disconnected or disassociated from them. And not to say that I never was disassociated, I certainly was. But, over time, I was able to, especially in the last few years, really reincorporate a lot of those feelings. So it is a healable thing. You just have to have the intention and awareness and desire for awareness of who you are, and to really look at, is it instability, or is it, is it an accepted instability, or is it like something that I need to like take a little bit of a deeper look into, okay? So let's move on to the next, because It's 49 minutes in. So 50 minutes in. Oh my gosh, I talked a lot. You guys, I talk a lot. I might have to do just half of this because I have to go help my son with his homework. And maybe eat something. I haven't had dinner yet. All right. So let's look at the difference of tidal multiplicity and then multiple personalities. And maybe we can kind of parse this down a little bit. Okay. So tidal multiplicity is not a dissociation disorder. Got a beautiful winter thunderstorm going on right now here in Michigan. Thunder, lightning, ice, rain, wind, epic. That sounds cool. It's kind of cold here. I think it got in like the 50s today, but it's supposed to be in the 70s next week. I'm pretty excited about that. I can wear my summer dresses. I'm so pumped. Bust out the summer dress season. Okay. So I kind of went into a lot of this already. So the tidal multiplicity that I'm talking about, this ebb and flow of our emotions and the things that we deal with in our everyday life. 80 degrees. Oh my gosh. So you didn't have to do any snow plowing. Oh my gosh. But how humid is that? Ugh. I couldn't imagine. So where multiple personalities might be a little bit more associated with dissociative disorders, that fragmentation of the personality. And this is a true thing because I did a lot of research last year on schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is like this huge split where all of a sudden, like, there's different characters invited into your inner world. Okay. With multiplicity, I'm talking about these dynamic identity states. Okay. So, like I said, we've got the different versions of when you're with your children, or when you're leading a group, when you're grieving, when you're in romance, like if you're infatuated, when you're in strategy mode. These are all valid configurations of oneself, okay? And there's a lot more. These are just examples. So your one self can have like all of these different versions of you based on the environment that you're in, okay? And it's a healthy multiplicity. So you can shift in from one state. So, here I am on the podcast, and then as soon as I log off, I'm back into mom mode. Okay, what do we got to do? Do I got to sign the paper? What do we got to do for the homework? And, just kind of being there as a mother figure. So I'm going from podcaster to mother, and that's completely fine. These are valid configurations of who we are in ourselves. Okay, so multiplicity is not confusion, and it's simply range of who you are. So you're just kind of embracing this beautiful scale that you are, and everyone's going to be a little bit configured a little bit differently, and that's also very fine. Okay. All right. Well, I still have half of my notes available, so maybe can't do Thursday. Oh, maybe on Saturday. Maybe on Saturday I'll pick up and we'll do the rest of it. I'll just kind of do like a part 2. And maybe we'll talk about some horse stories. I think that would be fun, talking about horsies. Yesterday it was 62 here. We thought we died and went to heaven. Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 70s next week. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I planted my peas. I got sugar snap and snow peas planted. And I need to get some dirt together and put some compost in so that I can amend my soil and then plant some, when the time is right, plant some tomatoes. And I definitely wanted some, eating tomatoes, maybe some beans, and definitely carrots, onions, leeks. I love leeks, and zucchinis and cucumbers. Just love all those things. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you guys. I am looking forward to getting back into a regular rhythm now that I'm kind of healing a little bit more. I sounded really terrible last week, so this is a little bit of an improvement, but it's not quite gone away yet. This is the Celestic Intelligence Podcast. This is episode number 54, Tidal Multiplicity. And, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subs. I appreciate all the views and the attention, because attention is the most valuable currency that we have. And so I just appreciate even one or two of you coming on and loving the topics. And I know that a lot of people last year gave me some really positive feedback of how much it's helped them in their lives to have somebody come on and talk about these things. So good night, sweet dreams, and I will see you on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know quite yet, but I'll definitely make a note for that. I'm going to the hot springs on Saturday. So you guys know I love being in water. I'm just a little mermaid over here, just wanting to chill and do that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, peace, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.